You are listening to KLRN Radio, where liberty and reason still reign.
Hi, I'm Mike, founder of DollarShaveClub.com. What is DollarShaveClub.com? Well, for $1 a month, we send high-quality razors right to your door. Yeah, $1. Are the blades any good? No. Our blades are f***ing great. Each razor has stainless steel blades, an aloe vera lubricating strip, and a pivot head. It's so gentle a toddler could use it. And do you like spending $20 a month on brand name razors? 19 go to Roger Federer. I'm good at tennis. And do you think your razor needs a vibrating handle, a flashlight, a back scratcher, and 10 blades? Your handsome-ass grandfather had 1 blade and polio. Looking good, pop up! Stop paying for shave tech you don't need. And stop forgetting to buy your blades every month. Alejandro and I are going to ship them right to you. We're not just selling razors, we're also making new jobs. Alejandro, what were you doing last month?
Not working.
What are you doing now?
Working.
I'm no Vanderbilt, but this train makes hay. So stop forgetting to buy your blades every month and start deciding where you're going to stack all those dollar bills I'm saving you. We are DollarShaveClub.com, and the party is on.
I know karate, I know jiu-jitsu and drive like a gangster when I'm coming to see you, see you, see you, see you.
My son was in the Army back during Desert Storm, but even then he wanted an MBA. He looked at a dozen schools, but only one offered the online education and flexibility he needed while he was in a tent in Iraq. Grantham University. Turns out that Grantham's been delivering affordable, relevant college and advanced degrees for over 65 years. Heck, if they can deliver a quality education to a soldier in a tent overseas, think about the flexibility Grantham can offer you so you can earn your degree too. It doesn't matter how complicated or full your life is, if getting a degree is on your bucket list, you'll want to do what my son did. You'll want to call Grantham. Find out how easy it is to get started on your education so you can check that college degree off your bucket list. Call Grantham right now, 800-910-1370. That's 800-910-1370. Flexible, affordable, relevant. Call 800-910-1370.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 1-800-516-7602 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 1-800-516-7602 to take your call right now. Call 1-800-516-7602. That's 1-800-516-7602. Again, 1-800-516-7602.
Attention business owners and independent contractors. This is a money-saving message from Tax Mediation Services. If your business owes $20,000 or more in taxes, we can help you today, right now. Listen, dealing with the IRS is no picnic. It's an intimidating and extremely stressful process, and you don't want to go it alone. Our attorneys know every law, every tax break, and every possible opportunity to help you resolve and reduce your tax debt. And if you owe more than $20,000, you may be at the top of their hit list. So don't take your tax debt lightly, because it will not go away on its own. The IRS can seize your bank accounts, your home, and even shut down your business. Call our tax experts today at 1-800-783-0810 and let us deal with the IRS while you focus on your business. That's 1-800-783-0810. Again, that's 800-783-0810.
Ready to stand out, Army ROTC prepares you not only as a college student, but as a strong leader, allowing you to earn the rank of second lieutenant. You will be eligible for full tuition merit-based scholarships and develop leadership skills essential for your future. Start strong and enhance your college experience. Visit your campus Army ROTC representative today. To find out how you can earn up to a full tuition scholarship, visit goarmy.com/podcast to locate your closest ROTC program today. Army officers inspire, strengthen others. Paid for by the United States Army.
KLRN Radio has advertising rates available. We have rates to fit almost any budget. Contact us at advertising@klrnradio.com.
The following program contains coarse language and adult themes. Listener discretion is advised.
Good evening, America, and welcome to the KLRN Radio News Desk. I am Rick Robinson. We have Decision 2024 coverage coming at you live tonight. Here in just a moment, we'll be streaming the entirety of the Trump Town Hall. Don't forget, also tonight, we do have the cocktail lounge coming up shortly after. There will likely be a bit of a break because it's been a crazy day for me. In case you're wondering what happened to the afternoon show, we had a fire. So, yeah, my neighbors were trying to do a controlled burn on their garden, and unfortunately the controlled burn was not controlled. So we came dangerously close to losing our detached garage and shop, and we did lose the chicken coop. But the good news is, after us fighting the fire for almost 20 minutes with buckets and water hoses and everything we could find, fire department did finally show up and get it under control. Which is good, because I have lots of cedar trees on my property, and we were getting dangerously close to some of those. So, yeah, I was one of those, just wet the trees down really, really quick, just in case, and then start throwing the water at everything you can. But, yeah, so it's been a fun day here at the Robinson homestead. But here we are. We're live. I've got the feed up. Pardon me. We're just waiting to be able to join the town hall once it starts. Of course, this is going to be brought to you by Fox News, also brought to you on our side by the Digital Beacon, our news outlet that I'm actually in the process of launching, because it kind of seems like nobody just wants to give the news anymore. And since I'm not really trying to, to do crazy things, we're going to start doing this. I had actually hoped it would have been live by now, but when it's all done out of love and it's a small group of people, sometimes things don't go the way you want them to go or in the manner that you want them to go, which is why it's taken me 16 years to get to the point where we are right now. But yeah, so far we're still waiting for the reports to go live. Now, of course, in the meantime, it's not like there's a shortage of things that we could talk about because, Joe Biden is still, blaming Republicans for the border. Let's not forget that under Joe Biden for the last 3 of the 4 years, he and his entire administration have been screaming about how secure the border is, and how secure the border is, and how secure the border is. Now all of a sudden it's an election year, and now the border's broken and it's all Donald Trump's fault. Never mind the fact that Donald Trump hasn't been president for the last 4 years. Then you have all of this other stuff going on, like Haley, who for some unknown reason is still in the race. I honestly kind of thought she would drop out before she literally got spanked in her home state. Now she says no matter what happens in her own home state, she's staying in anyway. And guys, I get it. Donald Trump was not my first choice. He wasn't my second choice. Hell, he wasn't even my third choice. And yet here we are with him basically running away with everything that has been done so far. Super Tuesday is going to be the deciding factor. And I don't really see Haley building enough momentum to sweep Super Tuesday in the fashion that she would need to be able to call this thing in her favor, because she hasn't won a single race yet. She hasn't even come close. In most cases, DeSantis was beating her until DeSantis dropped out. If anybody would have stayed in and tried to make a fight of it, I really wish it would have been him. The problem is Haley has all the dark money because the Democrats are hoping to use Haley as a spoiler to keep Trump from getting the nomination at all because everything that they've tried to do isn't working. They've thrown everything they can at him. Anything they hit him with, he comes back stronger. And the thing that pisses me off, just being completely honest, is I'm really tired of having to defend Lord Spraytan, which is my new nickname for him, by the way, in case you're wondering. And I get it. I'll retire it if he becomes the nominee. But I didn't want him. I wanted DeSantis. I really, really, really wanted DeSantis. DeSantis had a better pedigree overall, better response to COVID, better initiatives when dealing with the woke agenda, and he would have been probably the perfect fit for the time that we find ourselves in now. But for some reason, the GOP electorate has themselves convinced that this needs to be a revenge tour, and since I'm not even a registered Republican, who am I to get in their way? All I know is I just have a bad feeling that he's just not going to be able to pull it off in the general because there's too many people that don't eat, sleep, and breathe this stuff that only see the negatives in the news and they don't go find the information for themselves. I mean, hell, I just saw another story today out of Nevada talking about, I think that in this most recent primary, people were recorded as voting that didn't vote. And I'm kind of thinking, weren't you one of the same people that were saying that was impossible the last time? And this goes back to everything that I've been talking about. We know that the CIA and the FBI colluded to try to destroy Trump's campaign. We know this. There's a paper trail. There's a paper trail of them changing documents stating at one point they were saying that based on intelligence it looks like Putin wanted Hillary Clinton to win because she was more manageable. When that didn't happen, they started changing things around and saying that Hillary that Putin wanted Trump to win, which we know isn't true. And we know it isn't true because let me explain to you exactly what's going on. Everything they've tried to tell you that Trump has done, they have actually done. It's why they are trying to get him convicted at all costs. Because in order for the narrative to stick, he has to be found guilty of something. Because then they have something to hang it on and say, look, see, we told you he was dirty. The problem is, when it comes right down to it, both sides are dirty. And this is why I'm so tired of having to play the game by their rules. The problem is, we never get serious about trying to fix the system until we're in the middle of an election, and by then it's too late. And now they've extended the elections to the point where once you get out of one, you're basically already starting another one. And they know that because it's how they keep us all glued to our seats and picking whichever color banner we want to pick up and run off to war about. And I don't know about you, but I'm getting really tired of playing their games. I don't know how to fix it yet, but I'm getting really tired of playing their games. Alright, so we're going to bring the volume up because I don't exactly know when this is going to start, but it looks like it's starting now.
To Greenville, South Carolina. We have an amazing crowd tonight, and we're just 4 days out, I can't believe it, from the South Carolina GOP primary, where 50 delegates are at stake in the march to the nomination. Now, former two-term South Carolina Governor Nikki Haley is poised to lose by a wide margin, but she remained defiant earlier today. We're going to hit all of this and more with the man of the hour. Joining me now, Donald J. Trump. Welcome, sir. It's always good to see you. It's been a while, been a couple of years since we've done a big event with you like this. And just in time for your appearance today, there's a new Suffolk poll out just now a few days before the big primary. And among those very likely to vote, you're up over Nikki Haley by close to a 2-to-1 margin, 63 to 35. Yet today, she refused to step aside and said this.
Many of the same politicians who now publicly embrace Trump privately dread him. They know what a disaster he's been and will continue to be for our party. Some people used to say I was running because I really wanted to be vice president. I think I've pretty well settled that question.
Has she settled that question?
Well, I settled it about 3 months ago. She's not working. She's here. She's down by 30, 35 points. And everybody knows her. You're not supposed to lose your home state. Shouldn't happen anyway. And she's losing it big. I mean, really, I said bigly and bigly. She's losing it bigly. But we're gonna really do a job. I think that, as you know, when we went to Iowa, we got the biggest margin in the history of the caucus, the biggest. That's a long time.
Why do you think she's staying in the race?
I don't think she knows how to get out, actually. I really don't. She did terribly in New Hampshire. She got the only vote she got was from Democrats.
But she has a lot of money behind her. What do they think they're getting?
Well, they're trying to hurt me because of the general election. So the Democrats are giving her money, and she's playing into the game. And I think she just can't get herself to get out. She's doing poorly in the polls. Look, if she was doing well, I'd understand it. But she's doing very poorly. She lost in record numbers in Iowa, record numbers in New Hampshire. Nevada, no name beat. No name. We had no name.
Well, she and Biden have like almost, in a way, some would say team up together. They're Biden's people to say, look, if you're going to complain about age, Trump's demeanor, Trump makes mistakes, forgets names. She's trying to equate Biden's decline, which is fairly obvious, with you for being, 77.
Well, he's declined, and there's no question about it, but he was always sort of semi-declined if you go back 25 years. No, but he was not one of the smarter people. He's tried to be president many times, 4 times at least that they know of. And all of a sudden, when he's most diminished, this is when he hit, and he did it. But if you look at me, I feel, and I really mean this, and I would tell you, and I think you tell me too, because we've known each other a long time, if I felt diminished, okay, let's use a nice term. If I felt diminished or declined in any way, I think I'd know it. And I think I'd say, I'm not running. Somebody should talk to him. But if he runs, he runs. He doesn't seem to be, I heard you say that he's very persistent, and he probably is. I think most
stubborn.
people, I think that most people that run would be stubborn or persistent and, just not want to give up the ghost. But, we have a nation to run. We have a nation that has to survive. We have nuclear weapons and the likes of which, and you don't even want to know about it, the most powerful weapons in the history of the world, so powerful that you don't even want to talk about them. And we have him negotiating for us. And in his best years, he couldn't have negotiated well. Now he has no clue what's happening. And I know Putin very well, and I know President Xi of China. I know them all. Kim Jong-un, I know very well. I did a great job with him.
Do you think they'd prefer him to remain as president because they believe that they can dominate the global, the global situation much easier with him in office?
Well, they want him very badly to be president. I mean, I'm sure a lot of money's being spent on between Russia and China, no question with China, Russia too. Look, Ukraine would have never happened. I know Putin so well, and it was the apple of his eye. Ukraine was the apple of his eye. I said, don't ever do it. It would have never happened, by the way.
We're going to get into that in a minute. But back to Biden and his current state, whatever you want to call it. Will you challenge him to regular debates, regardless of the concern about the moderators? I know that's always annoying, but I'll be happy to moderate one, by the way. Would you challenge him? Come on, Joe, you can do it. Will you challenge him to a debate regularly on focus specific topics. In other words, so it's not a wide-ranging, just one debate on foreign policy.
Well, I'll do it right now on your show. I'll challenge him right now, and we can do you can do anybody you want. I'll take anybody from CNN, which is doing very poorly in the ratings, by the way, as you probably know. I'll take anybody, because I think you have an obligation in this case. You really have an obligation to debate. When it came to the Republicans, I was up by 40, 50, 60 points, like being up on her. I think a poll just came out. I'm at 91 and she's at 7. And would you debate? You want to be smart. You don't have to waste your time doing certain
But that would be instructive to see you versus Biden on any given topic.
Regardless of poll numbers. I'm way up on him now in the polls. And frankly, I think we have an obligation. When you have the final Republican, the final Democrat, you have the two people you have to debate regardless of polls.
How many debates would you commit to?
As many as necessary. I would like to do it starting now. I don't think he's going to debate, though. I really don't think so. I mean, we had a debate where at the end of the debate, he admitted I was right about almost everything, but in particular on energy. Do you remember I said, I feel like Perry Mason, the way you just collapsed? And he admitted everything about energy, and that's what actually happened, and that's why your energy costs went up 3 and 4 times. I mean, we had $1.87, and he was up to $5, $6, $7, and that's going to happen immediately after the election. Let's not even talk about if he wins. We can't allow it to win. We're not going to have a country left. But that's going to be, you will have energy costs, and this whole concept of all electric, everybody having an electric vehicle, they don't go far. People don't want that. They want everything. They may want electric, but they also want other choices.
Do you believe the push to control gas stoves, how far you could drive by forcing people into electric vehicles, all the new edicts that they really want to push out? What's really behind that? Do you believe there's a bigger agenda to kind of control movement, control people's freedom of movement?
Well, a lot of people said that. I'm not sure. I just think they maybe are just mixed up or confused. They come out with faucets where no water comes out. If you go and buy a home, and they know what I mean, the showers, you stand under a shower and there's no water coming, and you're saying you end up standing there 5 times longer.
But they want that. They want the dishwashers to be changed. All of that is part of the agenda.
So in Ohio, you have a great company that came to me, a dishwasher company, one of the biggest and finest companies, but they were going out of business. They said, we're not allowed to use water. And they also had a problem where South Korea was making washing machines, dishwashers, and other things, and dumping them into our country. I put tariffs on them, 50% tariffs, and I saved that company. Now it's a thriving company. But what's happening between other countries coming in free, you can't go into those countries, but they can come into us. We can go into China and pay a $100 tariff on a car. They used to come in here. Now, I put a 27.5% tariff on cars.
That's the only reason their EVs are not swamping the United States. They're all over Mexico right now. The EV market is being cornered by China around the globe.
We would be dead if I didn't put that tariff on. I was going to raise it to 50%. It's 27.5. Otherwise, you'd have everybody would be dealing, not even a car they liked, but they'd be dumping them into our country. So what's happening now is China is going to Mexico and building massive automobile plants, and they think they're going to come in and just sell those cars from Mexico without a tariff into our country.
Will that happen under Biden if he actually won a second term? Do you think your tariffs will be pulled off?
Well, he can't do it now because it's so much money we're taking in. We took in $450 billion with my tariffs from China. Not one other president took in 10 cents. If I didn't do what I did with tariffs to China, I don't even think we'd be sitting here right now. It was so...
But he left a lot of them in place. He hasn't removed those.
Well, he can't because economically he can't.
But in a second term, would he...
I think he'd remove them.
What do you think Hunter Biden did or promised or winked about to get that money that he got? He's obviously not a financial whiz.
From many, many locations. I mean, from Ukraine, it was crazy because he was on the board. He was paid $183,000 a month. He got $3 million up front, according to what I read.
But they say Joe Biden, there's no evidence that Joe Biden received any financial benefit personally. And to that, you say?
Well, he's got a lot of houses all over the place, and he's never been paid more than about $179,000, I guess, is the top. Look, he's gotten a lot of money, Hunter's gotten a lot of money. Hunter gets millions of dollars just for sitting on a board, an energy board, and he admits that he knows nothing about energy.
Why do you think Joe Biden was able to raise $42 million in January? He's just headed out to California. He'll be at the home of Haim Saban. You know him as a big pro-Israel benefactor, multi-billionaire. Why are the billionaires rallying to Joe Biden?
That actually
They like me too. They made more money with me than they ever made before.
They did, so why are they
But that was in a positive. I'll tell you, the ones that I love are the ones that pay me on average $61, and I'm raising millions and millions of dollars. $61, and some of them do it every single month. That's the one. Because they're globalists and they want to just take over this country. They're globalists. They represent China. They have a lot of money in China. You know, China is very smart. They have all of these guys locked up. And, you know, if you go to China, they want you to build a car plant. If you build cars, if you make cars, they don't want you to build cars here. They want you to make cars, but they want you to make them in China. They don't want you to make them here. There's so much money that is tied up in China and some of these other countries. You know, everybody mentions China. The European Union is a disaster. I said to Angela Merkel before she left, before she destroyed Germany, and she did a bad number in Germany, I will tell you, and I liked her. Maybe that's why, because I'm for here. I'm for here, and they're for their country. And they are for their country, and I don't blame them for being. But I said, Angela, how many Chevrolets do we have in the middle of Munich? She said, why, I don't believe any. I said, that's right, Angela, that's not fair. We're going to change it, because they have Mercedes-Benz, Volkswagen, they have all of BMW.
They protect their industry.
They protect it, and they protect it from farm products. They protect it from everything. It's so unfair. I had that all changed around, all good. And then these guys come in and they destroy our country again. But there's no greater destruction than what's happening at our border, where they're letting millions and millions.
We're going to get into that. We're going to get into that next block. So up next, the issue at the top of the mind, as the former President Trump just said, the border and what illegal immigration is doing to the country that we love. More with Donald Trump from Greenville, South Carolina, after this.
Thank you.
I'm Patriotic Kenny.
And hi, I'm Amanda.
All right, so we're going to mute while they're on commercial. I know he would never come on this network or even the new news channel that we're building, because I would ask him questions he wouldn't want answered. But I still feel like there's so many things that he should be explaining to the American people, and nobody's asking him about them. It's like every town hall he does is a bunch of softballs. Every single one. And I have questions about COVID. I want to know why he let the things go on for as long as he did. I want to know why he left Fauci in charge for as long as he did. I want to know why he pinned a medal on Fauci before he left. I want to know why he didn't put a plan in place to make sure that we weren't having the 2020 election stolen from us, because part of the reason the deal works so well is because of everything that he signed into law before he left. And I'm upset. And I need answers. Nobody's asking him these questions. These are the questions that they need to get answered before the general election, because it might help sway the people that are pissed. Might. But they're not going to do it, because he has to have everything done his way. And this is why he wasn't my first choice, he wasn't my second choice, and he wasn't my third choice. But if we have to have a geriatric grudge match, I know who I'm voting for in the general, and it will not be Biden. Because it seems like we're headed towards a geriatric grudge match. Now, why these people that are supposedly the top names in conservative media won't ask this man hard questions, I just don't understand. Because that's your job. And it's his job, as somebody who wants to run the country again, to answer those questions satisfactorily enough so we can decide if he deserves to be able to run the country again. I have issues with all of it. Every bit of it, I have issues. And that is why I will keep trying to get these questions answered, because they deserve to be answered. People have died because of Operation Warp Speed. People have died because the framework that he put in place with Operation Warp Speed was perverted even worse by the Democrats. But it's still his fault. He started the ball rolling. And again, I understand that for a couple of months we had no idea what was going on. But when they started pushing back against him with things that we knew made sense, and he still just kept letting them be the ones in charge and letting them be the ones running everything, I have huge issues with all of this. And I'm hoping that at some point that Miss Ingram does her job as a supposed journalist and asks hard questions. Because if I ever get to ask them, I'll probably be blackballed the next day. But I would still do it anyway. Oh, good Lord, they have lots of commercials. Lots and lots and lots of commercials. So I see somebody popping into the chat. Let's see who's in here. Woohoo! Yeah, I know. I get it, Orty. Yeah, she won't ask any hard questions because she doesn't want to lose access. I don't give a crap about access. I have questions, and they deserve to be answered. I would still ask them the one chance that I had. Just to ask them, just to see if he would actually answer them. But yeah, you made it for one. This is only like an hour long though, so this is kind of a makeup because I didn't get to do my afternoon show today because the backyard of my house was on fire. Fun times. Anyway, so yeah, I think they're about to head back in. So.
Because I wanted to be in the front and see President Trump.
What do you want to hear from him today?
I want to hear all that he has planned for the country when he becomes president.
Mm-hmm. Great. And then what issues are most important to you guys?
The border.
The border?
Yes.
Got it. What about everybody over here?
Oh, definitely the border.
Yeah.
The border and voter ID.
Voter fraud. Economy.
Welcome back to Greenville, South Carolina, where folks have been waiting since very, very early this morning to see former President Donald Trump. Now, Mr. President, one of the questions we've been hearing from voters here is, how do you plan to deport the millions of people? I mean, there's probably 12, 13 million people under Biden alone that have come here. And how will it work?
It's going to work that we get the bad ones out first. They're coming in from prisons. They're coming in from jails and mental institutions.
How will you find them?
We're going to find them through local police. Look, the local police, they're so phenomenal. I love them. They love me. I think I have 97% support. They know everything. They know the first names. They know everything. And it's a new category. I don't know if you've heard this, but I came up with this one: migrant crime. There's violent crime, there's migrant crime. We have a new category of crime. It's called migrant crime. And it's going to be worse than any other form of crime. You look at New York City, what's going on where they attack police. They want to fight police officers. Our criminals don't even do that so much, okay? I've never seen, they're having fistfights with the police officers in the middle of the street. And we have to do something about it. These are tough people. Don't forget, they're not sending their finest. I know all the leaders of the South American...
Well, they really hit you when you said that in 2015. You said they're sending them.
It doesn't matter.
And now, all these years later...
everything turned out to be right.
Well, CBC is telling us that...
Unfortunately.
Customs and Border Patrol announced yesterday that just in 3 days, 452 Chinese nationals have been apprehended by Border Patrol. And, Mr. President, 20,000 Chinese have entered since October.
Yep.
Okay, does this concern you more than other immigrant groups?
Probably it would, because it's China, and maybe what are they building an army in between? It was 29,000 people in the last year. Think of it, 29,000 people, and most of those people were young, male, fighting age, okay? So
what's going on?
Look, you want to give the benefit of the doubt, but China was number one. And you look at Yemen, now they're coming in with bombing. Here we go again with this guy bombing everything, gets no respect. He bombs and bombs. They're bombing Yemen.
Well, they're bombing
and
us.
We have a lot of Yemenis are coming into our country. We have people coming in from everywhere. They're coming in from the Congo. They interviewed some people last night. Where are you from? Congo. Where did you live? Prison. They're emptying out their prisons into
What's
our
the first thing you will do if you become president again on the border? I know
Well,
that's going to be your first
There's
act.
two things I'm going to do. Number one is drill, baby, drill. And the other thing, equal, is we're going to... Look, I had the safest border in the history of our country, recorded history, because I can't tell you about 1,000 years ago, but recorded history of the border by far. We had it down pat between guys like Tom Homan and Brandon Judd and unbelievable people that you have on your show. We had a great... All Biden had to do is stay at the beach. You know, he goes to the beach. Somebody said he looks great in a bathing suit. So he goes to the beach. If he went to the beach and didn't do it, but he canceled everything, remain in Mexico, catch and release. We have catch and release, but we had release in Mexico.
Why were you against the House, against the Senate border deal, the bipartisan border?
Well, they allow 5,000 people a week, but a lot of people took it as 5,000 people a day. They said 5,000 people a week, and you read it, and it says 5,000 people a day. Number one, that, but it also made it much better for the opposing side.
It regularized, managed the crisis.
You couldn't manage it. It was so complex. You're talking about, first of all, if you want to close the border, you're president. I didn't have any legislation. I had people opposed to me very strongly, including Mitch McConnell and Paul Ryan and Nancy Pelosi. That was a little triumvirate. And what I did after a year, I said, you know what, these people, I took the money out. We built 571 miles of border wall, and that's what made our border so good. We did another thing. I got 28,000 soldiers from Mexico. I sent to the president of Mexico, who I really like a lot. I think he's a terrific guy. He's a socialist, but a terrific guy, and he's fantastic, actually, in a lot of ways. I said, we need 28,000 soldiers to guard our border. He said, you got to be kidding.
Well, Biden
I ended up getting, free of charge, 28,000. We had the safest border we've ever had. Now, we have the most unsafe, we have the worst border in the history of the world. There's never been a border of any country anywhere in the world that's been like
Biden has announced, well, they've hinted that he's going to come out with a border executive order on the border to clamp down on illegal immigration before the State of the Union message. I thought he said he didn't have the executive authority.
So I do believe that he's baked in. I don't think he can ever even come close unless people are really stupid, which they're not. The public is much smarter than the politicians. He's not going to be able to change. He's not going to be able to change it. He's destroyed our country. This guy is destroying our country.
Speaking of that, how are you going to make sure that mail-in ballots and voter fraud, which we heard from a lot of people in line, was an issue front and center? They're very concerned about mail-in voting. So forget the past. What are you going to do to make sure we don't have problems going forward?
If you have mail-in voting, you automatically have fraud. If you have
okay, well, there's mail-in voting in Florida,
That's
and you
right.
won huge.
That's right. If you have it, you're going to have fraud.
But you won.
Because you don't have any. When you go into a voting place, like you go into one in a properly run state, they look at you, they give voter ID, you give all sorts of identification. I mean, it would be very hard to cheat in a mass scale. When you send out millions, like California, I think they sent out 36 million ballots. They don't have a voting booth in the whole place. And then millions of ballots come back. Nobody knows where they're coming from.
Right, but what are you going to do about it?
The way you win is by swamping them. The way you win is by swamping them. You got to have, and we're going to swamp. I'll tell you what, I did great in the first election. I did much better in the second.
We have interesting news coming out of New York, by the way, the New York poll that just came out, which we're going to get to. But Mr. President, Kelly is in the audience and has a question about foreign aid. Kelly.
How you doing, Mr. President?
Hi, Kelly.
One of the many great things you did in your first term was put America first. One of the many, many great things you did. That isn't the case in the last few years, which is evident with the unnecessary billions of dollars in foreign aid we have given specifically to Ukraine. So what is going to be the solution to fix all of that spending?
Thank you very much, Kelly. Appreciate it. I like that question. I like this guy. I can tell. But he's a man of common sense. I'm a man of common sense. You know, they say you're conservative, you're liberal, you're this, you're that. No. We're people of common sense. We need borders. We don't want to give foreign aid to countries that hate us. I mean, we're giving foreign aid to countries that hate us. If you look at the numbers in terms of the billions and even trillions of dollars that we give to foreign aid, and yet we don't protect our own border. We don't protect our own military. We have the greatest, you know, I knocked out ISIS. Everyone said it would take 4 years. It took me 3 months to knock out, totally decimate ISIS. We took out Soleimani. We took out al-Baghdadi. We did a job like nobody's ever done.
So you wouldn't be in favor of giving $60 billion more for Ukraine? Because they said without that money, Ukraine will definitely lose the war, which would then empower Vladimir Putin and endanger our allies.
And I guess the thing that bothers me most, it would have never happened if I were president.
Oh, it did happen. So what are you going to do about it?
But it would have never happened. Putin would have never done it for two reasons. Number one, I said, don't do it. He would never have done it. And the other reason is oil prices were low. At $40 a barrel, it doesn't work. At $100 a barrel, he made a fortune during this war. So what I would do is, first thing I get on the phone is with the European nations who are in for 25% of what we're in. We're in for over $200 billion. They're in for $35 billion.
We spent about $100 billion so far, but it will be $160.
It's a difference of $150 billion. They've got to start paying up. You know, it affects them much more than it affects us. We have an ocean in between us. They don't have that ocean in between. They have to start paying up. And you know why they haven't paid? Because nobody asked him. Biden doesn't call. Does Biden lie awake at night, sleeping, he turns for another reason, not for the reason we're talking about, sweating, saying, we got to get more. We've got to get them to pay up because there's $150 billion difference. I feel very bad. Remember this. You're really up against a war machine in Russia. Russia, what they do? They defeated Hitler. They defeated Napoleon. You know, they're a war machine. They're a much bigger country. Orban, who I think is a fantastic guy. A lot of people don't like him because he's a little bit on the tough side. He is the prime minister of Hungary. And he said, and he came out very strongly, they asked him, what's going on? The whole world is collapsing. He said, if the United States elects Donald Trump, it'll all end. Everybody was afraid of Donald Trump. It'll all end. And I believe that's true.
Nancy, your good friend, your very good friend, Nancy Pelosi, was on MSNBC earlier today with your other good friends, accusing you of something which took my breath away. Watch.
What does he have on Donald Trump that he have to constantly be catering to Putin, telling Putin, go into these countries, NATO countries? I think it's probably financial.
Your response, you said you're going to abandon NATO and Putin has something on you.
So I know the real Nancy Pelosi. She's highly overrated. Let me just tell you about Nancy. I went in. It's all sound bites. You know, with them, it's all misinformation. Everything is dis and mis. Little difference. Dis and misinformation. I went in, got in, and I stopped Nord Stream 2. Most people don't know what that's the Russian pipeline. The most important economic deal, plus, I call it economic plus, much more than economic, ever. I stopped it. I told Germany, you're not having it. I told all of Europe, you're not having it. Anybody that wants to have it, they're not dealing with you. I ended it. That's the biggest deal ever in the history of Russia. They are going to supply Europe with oil and gas. I ended it. Biden comes in, and he vetoed what I had done. It was done. Nord Stream 2 was done, and he approved it. But he ended the Keystone Pipeline, which is our pipeline, which should have been approved.
Yeah.
When people say that about Russia, and Putin would even say to me, he said, you treat us very bad. I had sanctions on Russia that nobody's ever put there before. In fact, Biden took them off. It's just misinformation. Anybody that walked in and ended, and remember this, Putin took land from every president of our last 5, except for one, me. Now he's going for the big one. He's going for all of Ukraine.
No.
He's going for all of Ukraine. Not just a little piece. He's going for all, and that's under Biden.
People around the world are expressing outrage over the death of Alexei Navalny, of course, in a horrific Russian prison. You posted on Truth Social about it. You said that his death made you more aware of the political circumstances here at home.
It's happening here.
Specifically your rivals. I want to give you the chance to expand on that because obviously your opponents have used that to say, again, pro-Putin, don't care about human rights or freedom, the freedom movement. And so what does that mean when you said it made you more aware of your circumstances here?
Navalny is a very sad situation, and he's very brave. He was a very brave guy because he went back. He could have stayed away. And frankly, probably would have been a lot better off staying away and talking from outside of the country as opposed to having to go back in because people thought that could happen, and it did happen. And it's a horrible thing. But it's happening in our country, too. We are turning into a communist country in many ways. And if you look at it, I'm the leading candidate. I got indicted. I never heard of being indicted before. I got indicted 4 times. I have 8 or 9 trials, all because of the fact that and you know this, all because of the fact that I'm in politics. They indicted me on things that are so ridiculous Fannie in Atlanta.
We'll get into that. We're going to get into that in a moment. But we're going to get into my favorite DA in a moment. But do you see yourself as a potential political prisoner in the United States, because that's their goal, is to put you in jail behind your bars, for the rest of your life?
If I were losing in the polls, they wouldn't even be talking about me, and I wouldn't have had any legal fees.
If you had retired from politics, would all these cases?
If I were out, I think, although they hate me so much, I think if I got out, they'd still, let's pursue this guy. We can't stand this guy. Look, I won an election that wasn't supposed to be winnable. I then did much better the second time. I won't get into it, but I did because of Fox. But I did a much better job the second time. We got millions and millions of more votes the second time. And now we're doing much better than we did the second time and the first time, almost put together.
Are you a potential political prisoner, sir?
Well, I think because of the fact that I'm doing so well, that I'm beating Biden at a level that they've never seen before. This is not supposed to happen. You know, it's much easier for a Democrat to run. Much easier than
All right, we're going to take a quick break. We have a lot more on this and on this topic, and a lot more Fani Willis and some of the other legal challenges the president faces. Stay with us.
All right, so they're going to break. We're staying right here. Actually, I don't know. We might take a break real quick because we haven't taken one yet. Might as well. Gives me a chance to go deal with something. Funny thing is, doing shows like this, I'm like currently running the show, listening to it, commenting, while also fighting stupid on Twitter. Alright, so we are going to take a break. We'll be right back. I'm Rick Robinson. You are listening to KLRN Radio's 2024 Decision Desk, powered by the Digital Beacon, our news branch. Coming soon. Sort of here already. We're just still building the infrastructure. But we'll be right back. Stay tuned.
You are listening to KLRN Radio, where liberty and reason still reign.
Hi, I'm Mike, founder of DollarShaveClub.com. What is DollarShaveClub.com? Well, for $1 a month, we send high-quality razors right to your door. Yeah, $1. Are the blades any good? No. Our blades are f***ing great. Each razor has stainless steel blades, an aloe vera lubricating strip, and a pivot head. It's so gentle a toddler could use it. And do you like spending $20 a month on brand name razors? 19 go to Roger Federer. I'm good at tennis. And do you think your razor needs a vibrating handle, a flashlight, a back scratcher, and 10 blades? Your handsome-ass grandfather had 1 blade and polio. Looking good, pop up! Stop paying for shave tech you don't need. And stop forgetting to buy your blades every month. Alejandro and I are going to ship them right to you. We're not just selling razors, we're also making new jobs. Alejandro, what were you doing last month?
Not working.
What are you doing now?
Working.
I'm no Vanderbilt, but this train makes hay. So stop forgetting to buy your blades every month and start deciding where you're going to stack all those dollar bills I'm saving you. We are DollarShaveClub.com, and the party is on.
I know karate, I know jiu-jitsu, I drive like a gangster when I'm coming to see you, see you, see you, see you.
My son was in the Army back during Desert Storm, but even then he wanted an MBA. He looked at a dozen schools, but only one offered the online education and flexibility he needed while he was in a tent in Iraq. Grantham University. Turns out that Grantham's been delivering affordable, relevant college and advanced degrees for over 65 years. Heck, if they can deliver a quality education to a soldier in a tent overseas, think about the flexibility Grantham can offer you so you can earn your degree too. It doesn't matter how complicated or full your life is, if getting a degree is on your bucket list, you'll want to do what my son did. You'll want to call Grantham. Find out how easy it is to get started on your education so you can check that college degree off your bucket list. Call Grantham right now, 800-910-1370. That's 800-910-1370. Flexible, affordable, relevant. Call 800-910-1370.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 1-800-516-7602 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 1-800-516-7602 to take your call right now. Call 1-800-516-7602. That's 1-800-516-7602. Again, 1-800-516-7602.
Attention business owners and independent contractors. This is a money-saving message from Tax Mediation Services. If your business owes $20,000 or more in taxes, we can help you today, right now. Listen, dealing with the IRS is no picnic. It's an intimidating and extremely stressful process, and you don't want to go it alone. Our attorneys know every law, every tax break, and every possible opportunity to help you resolve and reduce your tax debt. And if you owe more than $20,000, you may be at the top of their hit list. So don't take your tax debt lightly, because it will not go away on its own. The IRS can seize your bank accounts, your home, and even shut down your business. Call our tax experts today at 1-800-783-0810 and let us deal with the IRS while you focus on your business. That's 1-800-783-0810.
So we're rejoining in progress. They had a news break, so I was trying to time it.
How will you put up that kind of money? Because you have a bond to put up. Even if you appeal, you got to put up escrow money. That's it's a lot of dough.
It is a form of Navalny. It is a form of communism or fascism. The guy's a nut job. I've known this for a long time, and I've said it openly. No jury, no anything. Letitia James is horrible attorney general in New York, campaigned on I will get Trump, I will get Trump. We went through a trial. It turned out we're totally innocent on everything. And he fined me $355 million plus interest and other things. $355. And what we did, in fact, my financial statements were conservative. Everybody made money. There was no victim. The bank gets up and says, we love this guy. I mean, they love
You paid
Trump.
back the loans.
100%. No defaults, no anything. The bank asked me to, banks lend money. That's how they make money. They asked me, would I borrow some money? They asked me. I didn't need the money. I had a lot of cash. And what happens is this guy ruled that I was guilty before the trial started. He didn't even know anything about it. He ruled that a house in Florida called Mar-a-Lago is worth $18 million when it's worth from 50 to 100 times that.
Would you give up one of your properties to settle this?
Look, we have, I wrote this out because it was so great. I just looked at it. People call up, all of your friends, the lawyers call up. They say, it's the most egregious punishment anybody's ever seen. Tim Scott knows that. He sees it. The Eighth Amendment. Excessive bail shall not be required, nor excessive fines imposed, nor cruel and unusual punishment inflicted. That's the Eighth Amendment. Excessive fines.
This is a state court ruling.
I have a fine.
Yeah.
I did business with a bank and insurance companies that loved me. They still do business with me. They wouldn't do business with.
But you have the practical. You're a practical man. You have a practical question, which I thought about a lot last night because it's such a huge amount of money. You have to decide whether you're going to put up that bond and escrow to appeal. Are you going to do that? And where are you going to get the money?
I'll tell you what we're going to do. Number one, I have a lot of cash, but that doesn't mean he can take it. I mean, you know what he did? I think he looked at my cash and he said, well, we'll take all of his cash. This is all coming out of the White House. This is everything that you see, whether it's that one or the DA. In the DA's office, in Bragg's office, he has his top people from the DOJ working in the district attorney's office in New York. Nobody knows that. Everything is coming out. This is all election interference. They're trying to damage me so they can win another election. They want to do
you ever just say to yourself, you know, I'm done. This is what they. Why? A lot of people would have said, I'm out. Why are you staying in this?
I can't because I want to make America great again. It's not great right now, and we can do that. We can do that. Laura, we can do it. We can get it fixed. It's harder now. It would have been so much easier if we just finished off that. Everything would have been so perfect. We had the border set. Everything was set to rock and roll. We had no.
So
inflation.
You feel like you have an obligation to America.
I do.
Because it's all coming in on you now.
If I
from
didn't
criminal to civil to the money.
Oh, I got everything. I've become an expert at law. If I didn't run, I wouldn't have any of these lawsuits. You know that. None of them. They would have gone on to the next. And look, Nikki has no chance. But if she ever did, they would go after her the same way. These are vicious people. These are vicious, sick people. They're sick. And this judge is sick. He got overturned on this case so far, overturned by the appellate division 4 times already on this case.
Do you expect the Supreme Court's going to overturn this? You're going to have to preserve your federal claim here below. So you're going to have to say we have a constitutional claim here against this excessive fine. And so there are constitutional hurdles you're going to have to cross. Are you going to expect the Supreme Court would interfere in a state court decision?
I've never seen such support on a decision before. Truckers, everybody, they're saying we're not going to deal in New York. People are leaving New York. I've never seen support like this. I think there's a lot of pressure on the court system of New York to do what's right. You borrow a small amount of money by comparison. You pay it back. The bank is in love with you. And by the way, this is a time, and a lot of the audience says, no, banks are doing very badly with commercial loans. They're not getting their money back. They're in default, everything. This was a perfect loan. I did a favor to this bank. I borrowed money. I paid it back. It was already done. Just 1 second. I pay it back. And then this guy uses this. It was just a weapon. They come after me, and they charge me many times the money that you're talking about. $355 million fine for a perfect loan. Where the bank was happy, the insurance companies, everybody's happy. And even he, in his statement, he said Trump did nothing wrong.
Said he didn't have any contrition. But, Mr. President, Chandra in the audience has a question. Chandra.
Mr. President, our country is so divided right now. I know you have suffered endless attacks, no doubt. But how can you assure independent and undecided voters that your focus as president will be on improving the state of our country and not settling those old scores?
It's an interesting question, I must say. Look, I did it before. We had a great 4 years, especially before that very last part where COVID came in, and we did a great job there. We've been given great marks on the economy and on the military and on foreign affairs, but never got the credit we should have gotten in that. We did something amazing, and the stock market was higher in the end. But just before I call it the China virus because I like to be accurate, came onto our shores, we had the greatest economy in the history of the world, even going up to the end. But this period of time, and it was success. Successful is the word I'm using to answer your question. We had such success in history. Some of your favorite pollsters like McLaughlin and Fabrizio, I met them the day before I heard the word COVID or pandemic, the day before. And we were talking about the next election coming up. They said, sir, if Abraham Lincoln and George Washington came back from the dead, they couldn't beat you. We had the greatest economy ever. And the people, let's call them on the left and far left, were calling me. We want to get together. I've never seen anything like it. I said, do you believe this? Everybody was happy. African American, Asian American, Hispanic American.
We're going to get into that because of your polls on that.
When you look at the poll numbers today with African American, Hispanic American, we're doing better than any.
But the question about score settling, a lot of women, a lot of women voters, they don't like the name calling, they don't like the score settling. They love your policies, and they just want Trump's policies, maybe not so much of the other stuff. So I think that's what the question, if you don't mind my asking, I think that's what she's getting at.
But also you want to say, how do you get together? We're going to get together through success. When the country was at a level that we had the best employment numbers in history, everything was good. And this country was coming together. Then we got hit with COVID. But this country came together. I don't care about the revenge thing. I know they usually use the word revenge. Will there be revenge? My revenge will be success.
Robert Hur, the special prosecutor in the Biden classified documents case. I don't know if you know this, but he's set to testify on Capitol Hill on March 12th. What is one question you're hoping the Republicans or someone who has some honesty up there will ask Mr. Hur? And should Biden have been charged in the classified documents case?
Well, nobody else has been over the years because, you know, Hillary took a lot and Bill took a lot. Bill took him out in his socks. They call it the socks case, which he won with a very tough judge, which he won. Bush took him. Everybody, Reagan took him out. Everybody took him out. It only became a big subject when I took things out. The difference is I had what's called the Presidential Records Act. I was allowed to do what I did. Absolutely allowed. That's why they passed the act in 1978. They passed the Presidential Records Act. But you can only use it or be there if you're president. Biden wasn't president. He was vice president.
Why didn't you just hand him over when they were requested, though? I mean, they requested him. You could have just handed him over. Probably saved yourself a lot of trouble.
First of all, I didn't have to hand him over. But second of all, I would have done that. We were talking, and then all of a sudden they raided Mar-a-Lago. Do you remember? They said, could you put an extra lock on the door? We showed them where they were. We showed them. Unlike being under a Corvette in a little garage with the door open all the time, we had these things locked. We were surrounded all the time by many Secret Service agents. We had Secret Service all over Mar-a-Lago. You couldn't take anything out. But what happened, and when you take a look, Biden didn't have the Presidential Records Act. He's at great jeopardy, really. But they said, look, he's incompetent to go to court, but he can be president. Figure that one. In other words, he can't represent himself at court because he's incompetent.
What should Hur be asked? What should he be asked?
Well, I just think you have to ask, why did you do it? You didn't have the Presidential Records Act, and how did you do it as senator? You know, Dick Durbin, a senator, said there's no way he did that as senator. And then when he found out, you know, it's pretty serious.
All right, we need to take a quick break. When we come back, I'm asking the question everyone wants to know the answer to. More with Donald Trump from Greenville, South Carolina after this.
I bet you're not going to be asking the question I want answers to, Laura. How much you want to bet you're not going to be asking the questions that I want answers to? Because you probably won't be. Look, I get it. I don't even understand why Haley's in this thing anymore. This is a foregone conclusion at this point. It's going to be the geriatric grudge match 2.0. Unless the only thing that could stop it, let's not forget, the DNC has some shady shit at their convention. They have like super delegates and everything else. So you never know. Some dark horse may show up and suddenly they may run Biden out on a rail. But I don't really know how they do that without pissing everybody off, because Mooch has already said she doesn't want it. I would be really surprised if she tries. Her husband can't do it again because he's already done 2 terms. Newsom, if they try to leapfrog him over the commie llama, then there's going to be rioting in the streets. And then pretty much every black person is going to vote Trump or stay home, which either way fixes that problem. I don't know a clear path forward for them right now. I really don't. I don't necessarily even see a clear path forward for Trump. I think DeSantis should have been the way we went, and I will die on that hill, because he had everything we needed and nothing we didn't. And with him, he keeps winning in Florida. Trump, the last year or so that he was in office, he kept losing. Kept talking about how much we were going to love winning, but he, for the first couple of years, it wasn't that bad. But he still, had to do things unconventional ways because he couldn't even build consensus within his own party, which, again, not necessarily really that surprised. We call it the Uniparty for a reason. And the one thing the Uniparty wants right now more than anything is all the monies to all the wars always, because that's how they... the thing that pisses me off is, if you look, most of these people that are pushing for this Ukraine money, most of which apparently goes back to our military-industrial complex, guess where they have stocks at? They're enriching themselves while guilt-tripping you about enriching them. And then not to mention the fact that we're about 1,000% positive at this point that Joe Biden is not only getting some sort of a kickback, 10% to the big guy, but he's also feeding money to Ukraine because, Hillary, and I was going to play this audio today. I don't have it queued up now. But we probably will tomorrow when I come back around to this point again, because Hillary Clinton keeps making the point that, that Russia has to have something on Trump. And then you heard Nancy Pelosi as being quoted saying that it's probably something financial. The only people that I know for sure have something on a former or sitting president are Russia and China, and it's not Trump. I'm sorry, I said Russia. I meant Ukraine and China, and it's not Trump. I wouldn't be surprised if Russia has stuff on Clinton, which is why she keeps trying to push all the Russia stuff off on him still to this day. But here we are with what looks like basically a collision course to the should not be buying green bananas 500. And here we are. SMOD? Anybody know a way to summon SMOD? Can that happen? Because I don't know. I mean, like I said, the only bright spot I have, and I've said this before, is if Donald Trump manages to win the nomination and then win the general, he can't ever run again. I'm kind of looking forward to him just going away. Because then maybe, just maybe, we can get the everybody has to be an asshole out of politics again. Maybe. It's a huge maybe. I'm not holding my breath. But I can hope. Wow, this thing's already almost over. And they're still on commercial. Oh, I thought we took... Everybody complains that we take lots of commercials. These people apparently never watch TV. Just saying. Anyway. Anyone? Bueller? Let's see what else is going on real quick. Just in case, because this break seems like it's taking forever. And I don't really want to take another one. Oh, yeah. So, everybody remember how yesterday Haley swore that she had, like, a big announcement? Apparently the only thing that she's announced is that she's not going anywhere. So, apparently, potentially getting dragged in your home state isn't enough to make this woman go away. Well, I guess we'll find out soon enough. All right, they're back.
Trump is trouncing Nikki Haley in the polls. You've seen them. I've seen them. But now, Mr. President... I've long said that Republicans should have a no state or city left behind strategy. Yeah. Ronald Reagan had that strategy in 1980 and 1984. And you told Maria Bartiromo that you may campaign in the Bronx or at Madison Square Garden. When might that be happening?
Very soon. Look, we have 9 months yet, but I'm going to see about Madison Square Garden, and we're going to go to the South Bronx, and we're going to go to Queens and other areas, because if you look at what's happened in New York, I'm not even blaming the mayor. I think the mayor has sort of been told to take a back seat a little bit because they came after him violently. They came after him like they're going to indict him when he started speaking up, and now he's become quiet. These are fascists we're dealing with. They're terrible people. And so I'm not blaming him. I'm just saying we have 500,000 migrants, illegal migrants in New York on Madison Avenue. They're sleeping on Madison Avenue. They're sleeping on Fifth Avenue. It's horrible what's going on. I think there's a chance to win New York. The people are very, very unhappy.
The poll today that just came out in New York, just to remind everybody, in 2020, Biden beat you by 23 points in New York. But in the latest Siena poll, Biden's only ahead of you by 12 points. And that's with zero Republican presence and, no ads, nothing. Now, you're winning men 47-40 in this poll, but you're upside down with women 54 to 29. How could you turn that around in New York with women voters? Again, many of them love your policies, but maybe some of the other stuff they don't.
So nationally, we're doing very well with women. We're leading Biden by a lot nationally, by 12 and 14 points. and we're doing much better.
But we're
with
talking
women
about this
than he is.
50-state strategy.
I'd like to do the 50-state. I'd like to focus on it. I wish I had more confidence in the election and, in all of the way they accumulate ballots, to be honest with you, because I think we'd do very well in California, but not when they send out 36 or 38 million
But
ballots.
there's real progress in New York. I mean, this is a significant poll with no Republican advertising. Among Latinos, you're at 41% in New York. Among African Americans, you're at 26%. Those are 40% increases from 2020. So with a little work in a lot of these states, New England has 12 Senate seats. I mean, I'm from Connecticut. Why is Connecticut down the tubes? Why is Illinois down the tubes? Why is California lost?
New York, New Jersey.
Right.
New Jersey, very strong, a great Trump state. I think we have a chance. If you win any of them, you automatically win the election. I mean, you'd win. Virginia's another one. New Mexico, we did great in New Mexico. I think we have a really good shot there. Colorado is very interesting because of all this mess where you had this group of people trying to take somebody out of the ballot. They're saying we're doing very well in Colorado. I think we're doing well everywhere, but we're beating him nationally by a lot. In fact, right now we're winning the popular vote by a lot.
When Biden ran, he pledged he was going to pick a female vice president in 2020. What qualities are you looking for in your vice presidential pick?
Well, always the first quality has to be somebody that you think will be a good president, because if something should happen, you have to have somebody that's going to be a great president. A lot of people are talking about that gentleman right over there. And he's been so great. He's been such a great advocate. I have to say, this is in a very positive way, Tim Scott. He has been much better for me than he was for himself. I watched his campaign, and he doesn't like talking about himself, but boy, does he talk about Trump. And I said, I called him. I said, Tim, you're better for me than you were for yourself. But he's fantastic, and he's a fantastic person.
Someone who can step into the role.
Most importantly, you have to view that.
The audience has been asked who they think would be a good choice, and various names came up. One of them was, of course, Vivek Ramaswamy. Yeah. He's made a big splash. Ron DeSantis, who's making an appearance today in South Carolina, we just found out. Obviously, Tim Scott, Byron Donalds, and a big presence here for Tulsi Gabbard. Very interesting. And Kristi Noem as well, I should say. Right. Are they all on your short list? And when can we expect that you will announce your choice?
The one thing that always surprises me is that the VP choice has absolutely no impact. It's whoever the president is. It just seems. I remember when Sarah Palin was actually picked, and she did have a big up, and then they just went after her at a level that nobody's seen. The Republicans themselves went after what they did.
But you'll be a one-term president because you've already served, so you can only serve for one term, although they say you'll never leave office. I assume that you'll never leave. There'll never be another election
don't
again.
Don't do it. He'll never leave. He's never going. Oh, these people. They are
so for that reason, it is important who you pick.
So I think it's very important. But look, first is that, as we said, it has to do with whoever is, it's a very important position for that reason. You would like to get somebody that could help you from the voter standpoint. And honestly, all of those people are good. They're all good. They're all solid. And I always say I want people with common sense, because there's so many things happening in this country that don't make sense. Who wants an open border? Who wants high interest rates? Who wants all electric vehicles? And they're fine, but you want to have choice. You want to go to combustion. You want to go to any hybrid. I think the hybrid are much better from that standpoint. But we were talking about faucets. We're talking about we're talking about so much. It's all based on common sense. We want a strong military. We want choice in education. We want to have things that can really make our country great again. What we're doing with the open border is a disaster. We are destroying our country. We're going to change that fast, and we're going to get your energy prices down.
Mr. President, thank you so much for this. We really appreciate it for all your time. We'll see you on the campaign trail.
Thank you very much.
That's it for us tonight from Greenville, South Carolina. Thank you for watching. Good night.
Well, I didn't hear anything I wanted to hear or needed to hear. Anyway, we're going to wrap this thing up. In about 30 minutes, we'll be back doing the cocktail lounge. I'm going to grab a bite to eat real quick before I got to start pushing buttons for those folks. But thanks everybody for tuning in. We're going to start trying to do things like this a little more often. When breaking news stories and stuff happen, when I can. Like when my backyard's not on fire, like happened earlier today. Anyway, so this will be the conclusion of the KLRN Radio Decision Desk 2024 coverage of the Trump Town Hall. I'm Rick Robinson. This is also, again, powered by the Digital Beacon. Thank you so much for joining us, and I'll be back with you pushing buttons for Brad Nagy here in just a bit.